when these excellent playmakers, such as Pumandu as well, grab a champion like Nami, just the playmaking ability absolutely goes through the roof.
Right. And speaking of those playmaking champions, Braum. A lot of people say that Braum is a broken champion and it has to be either banned or picked. And do you share that opinion?
I mean, Braum, he's essentially, because of his utility, is excellent all throughout the game. When we talk about broken champions, we don't necessarily talk about numbers, but we just talk about the way that their skill set works or the way that their kit interacts with other champions. And I do agree that Braum is a fairly broken champion, but I don't think he's overpowered right now with some of the new numbers that come out. But Braum is a fairly worthy ban in any pick ban strategy.
And your description just now of Braum fits exactly with this champion too, right? Thresh. And he's went through so many numbered nerfs, but his kit is just so strong. And
Kassadin.
Kassadin first pick. So that's, it used to be that when a Kassadin is picked, it's almost a certain mid pick, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Well, especially since 0903 in his 2 games last week did play top Lulu for both of those games. So he does have a penchant for playing AP champions in the top lane, such as Kayle, such as Lulu. So I wouldn't be that surprised to see the Kassadin potentially go in the top lane, but I do think Miso is going to play in the middle lane. The only worry would be is that a lot of times challenger teams don't know how to utilize Kassadin that correctly, but especially, we have Miso, we have Kish, we have Roar, 3 ex-Jin members. I mean, I'm not worried that they'll misuse the champion.
And it seems like they're considering Lucian and Lulu, but I'm actually surprised that they don't go with Lucian or Shyvana even when those 2 picks are left open.
I mean, Lucian and Lulu are very strong right now. Lucian is also a flex pick, so it doesn't really show anything about your team composition. You can go to the top lane, you can go to the middle lane, you can even go on support for the star. So in terms of trying to counter, especially since the other team locked into Kassadin, I think that the side of Sentinel Prime will look for a little more a counter pick kind of pick ban phase right here.
And we talked about Kish's Nami.
Oh my goodness.
That's not going to be a Little Mermaid. That's more going to be like Poseidon more so.
Kish's Nami is excellent. It's really, he really plays exquisitely on that champion. So I'm very happy to see him pick it up again. I think, for the most part, Necklet gets Lee Sin as well. I always said that Necklet has had, for the past 2 games, a very counter jungle dandy-esque style that I was really impressed to see in his last games. So giving Necklet that Lee Sin, I mean, the side of Invengers are getting everything they want right here. And the Shyvana might be a good answer to kind of, when there's a pick comp on the other side for the Invengers, the ham, wombo combo-esque comp might be the correct counter to that.
And I thought Lux was almost going to locked in, but it is a Leona.
Right.
So probably Leona support.
Right, it is going to be Leona support, and I expect that Rabbit will take the Lulu into the mid lane. Lots of wombo combo potential again. When you do have a large kind of a lot of CC in your team that you want to use to initiate team fights, you do want to have a champion that can kite for him or herself, and Lucian is very good at doing that. I mean, he and Twitch are the only champions that I consider very strong right now, as well as Kog'Maw. So Lucian is a very strong pickup here.
And it seems like Lucian, though you've said, it kites very well.
Right.
But at the same time, he's not a hardcore damage dealer, right?
Yeah.
Like Kog'Maw or Twitch or Vayne. And that's why Mundo seems like a decent idea to go against a Lucian.
Right. I mean, why most tanks have a problem with dealing with Lucian is because his E Relentless Pursuit basically cleanses all debuffs. So when you have a Mundo that that basically has a reapplicable slow in the cleavers, then it's very good at playing against Lucian. I do really like the composition of coming out of Invengers though, because there's just so much pick potential right here. I mean, you have the Mundo that can split push with the teleport, and then you have a Lee Sin, Kassadin, and Ezreal on Miso, Roar, and 0903 that can. Oh, sorry, Lucian can on Miso, Roar, and Necklet that can all jump over walls. So the pick potential is very, very high right now.
I mean, having one champion as mobile as Kassadin is problematic, but when the 2 carries are Kassadin and Israel, when they can pretty much use flash every 10 seconds, when Prime wants to pick someone off, they have to do it, bam, right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, Prime Prime traveling through the jungle, whether it be on the opponent team's jungle or their own jungle, will be fairly dangerous. I expect Invengers to pick up a lot of early to mid game wards and try to find, some chinks in the armor, so to speak, and really try to pick off members in rotation. For the side of Prime Sentinel, their composition is very straightforward. I mean, Pocket is basically... I was a little bit disappointed with Pocket's play in the last game, but what Pocket will basically be trying to do is, trying to get any of his lanes early leads, and then after a tower or two is taken, they'll group for Dragon, they'll group for mid lane turret, and just keep pushing as 5.
And they don't want to give away the early lead to Prime Sentinel, right? Because their team fight composition is so great, especially with this. The synergy between Shyvana, Leona, and Lulu is incredible. And also, Leona is a very threatening pick when you get ahead, right?
Right. I mean, Leona is a very threatening pick when you get ahead, but, I don't think we have to worry about Necklet on his Lee Sin falling behind the opponent jungler. I mean, Necklet to me is that good. Watching him play the last game, he was able to read the jungler for AFT champs so well, and he was able to create his own plays as well. So he really does have a flair for the spectacular, so to speak. I mean, he just appears everywhere on the map.
And we now move on to the super records of NLB 2014. This is this split, and so far Lulu has been banner picked 100 times, Thresh, Lee Sin, LeBlanc, or Kassadin. Not surprised with that list of champions. But champions with high win rates, Nami, Leona, and Lee Sin. I mean, Nami, Nidalee, and Lee Sin. And actually, Leona, all 3 appearances have a 0 win rate, but that is probably due to Detonation FM picking the Leona twice, right?
Right. Actually, Nami, Nidalee, and Lee Sin have 100% win rate, I believe. And then the Leona has the 0% win rate. And that is because I think that Detonation FM did pick her Leona twice and not too much success. Interestingly enough, some of these picks right here, especially LeBlanc and Nidalee, they're getting nerfed in 4.10. I believe for LeBlanc, they're removed... Well, for Nidalee, there's a whole kit rework, and she has this new passive called, the Mark of the Hunter or something like that, and it's, it's very interesting how her kit is going to work. For the LeBlanc, though, I believe that the main nerf is coming to her Sigil of Silence. It's being renamed to Sigil of Malice, and the Silence is being removed. I actually don't think that's LeBlanc's main problem right now.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I think it's her extraordinary wave clear that really is starting to piss a lot of people off, because when you have an assassin like that, you're expected not to have utility in other areas. You're expected to blow the enemy carries up. So her wave clear right now, especially with Athene's Holy Grail, is pretty outrageous. So I still think that LeBlanc might be a first pick or ban-worthy champion after 4.10.
I mean, you've mentioned when assassins have utility and other things is problematic too, and I really agree with that. That was the problem with Zed, right? Before he got nerfed, that his lane clear was so good. At the same time, his burst damage was so high, and it seems like we have the same problem with LeBlanc, but removing the silence?
I mean, removing the silence basically makes LeBlanc a slightly better version of Zed, because Zed goes all in, he applies the death mark, and then he'll basically try to pull off his combo and then escape, while LeBlanc is essentially doing the same thing, especially since she doesn't have the silence utility now. But since LeBlanc's combos are happen so much faster, and the way that her distortion works, she has a lot of safe routes back, especially across walls. LeBlanc is still a superior champion right now. And I mean, I think LeBlanc, again, I'll reiterate the fact that I firmly believe that LeBlanc has a position in any kind of team composition.
Exactly. When you have an assassin, we gave her these kits so that she can assassinate well, but when she's using the WQR to poke, we have a problem right there.
Yeah, I mean, again, besides the damage being completely outrageous, the reason why LeBlanc is considered an early game champion is because you can buy a Banshee's Veil and still and relatively, nerf some of the damage that she's outputting. The problem is, again, her wave clear, and she shouldn't have the wave clear that she does. I mean, they really need to fix,
they need to do
some of the problems with her W, which is distortion.
It just seems like, okay, I'll counter your high burst, so I'll buy a Negatron cloak, and then LeBlanc says, okay, I'll buy a Chalice, and I'll just wave clear, and I'll wait till the dragon fight, and then she uses her distortion.
Right, and she can just poke out with her Sigil of Malice as well. I mean, LeBlanc has a lot of... I honestly think, besides wave clear, if they get rid of the wave clear and LeBlanc is still a problem, they might just have to nerf her to the ground. Because LB is one of those champions that's very hard to balance.
ITENJOY NLB Summer 2014 Invengers versus Prime Sentinel.
We are live.
We are live. And... no gold items on Leona.
Right. So I do believe that this means Prime Sentinel will be looking for 2v standard lanes right here, and I don't necessarily disagree with that because the Leona Lucian lane, the Shyvana lane, those are very strong right now. I mean, the Invengers will really want to think about trying to invade early and then getting some nice deep wards in so they can scout out and potentially find where the duo lane is going and then rotate across. Wow, nice little stay from Necklet right there.
Right, he spotted out the movement. Now, Prime Star invading the enemy blue, but their movements are all being spotted.
Right, but they also pinged out where the Lucian was, so since they know where all 5 members of Prime Sentinel are, they know they can guesstimate where the ward coverage is. So if the Invengers choose to make an effort, they can play around the spots where they expect coverage exists and try to find the 2v1 lanes, like I mentioned before.
So both teams managing to get wards deep into the enemy jungle. So whether it's going to be a 2v1, like they're going to know where each laners are going to go to.
Right. I mean, Invengers right now are essentially submitting to the 2v1s, especially since we see the Dr. Mundo top. And to the 2v2, since we see the Dr. Mundo top and the bottom lane helping Necklet leash the red buff. But we actually might see a Lulu top right here, which is really interesting. Okay, so they're going to 2v1 the Kassadin. This is a really effective strategy, especially since Kassadin does do fairly well against, AP champions like Lulu, especially with a magic shield. So 2v1ing the Kassadin is a very viable strategy in this current point in the meta with how Kassadin's kit works.
And the moment you've said that, we saw Lucian just harassing Kassadin very, very strong. But at the same time, they should be worried because traditionally they say that Leona isn't so good in a 2v1.
Right. I mean, Leona doesn't do... I mean, the problem, of course, for Miso is that Kassadin is a melee champion. So the Stars, Leona isn't as much of a hindrance as it would be, especially since the mid lane is a short lane. But specifically because the mid lane is a short lane... ganks are much more dangerous, and Kish has to come up and try to support Miso and trying to CS. And
even with the Crystalline Flask, they want to make sure that Kassadin is able to sustain in the lane.
Right. I mean, if the Stars Leona gets off 1 Zenith Blade on 2 Miso, then Miso's basically dead. The Star took Ignite, probably to deal with 0903's Dr. Mundo.
Dr. Mundo, right.
So, but, besides the utility from the Ignite, just in lane, Ignite is so strong, even with a heal, so...
And we see Mundo versus Lulu, then that matchup is traditionally known to favor Lulu.
Right, I mean, especially since Lulu does have the range, it will favor Lulu. One interesting thing is that 2 members of the Invengers have teleport right here. I'm really liking what I see from the Invengers right now. Miso on his Kassadin has teleport, 0903 on his Dr. Mundo has teleport. So this will really allow nearly all of the members of the Invengers to split push. And then when someone like Kish, uses Aqua Prison to find a pick, they can just teleport in like that and immediately, find the pick. Start a 4v5 at a tower or a dragon.
Might have taken
oh my
too
goodness.
much damage there, and Flash
Nice
Mystic
kill.
shot from Roar right there. A great solo kill.
Right.
We rarely see that.
That was that was a
play.
complete solo kill, and we might see another fight right here. No, we do not. But that was a really good solo kill. I mean, Roar's it says his name, his tag says like XO, I don't know, some
XCV.
yeah. But Roar's Ezreal has always been really, really good. So, very good on Roar to find that avenue to fight.
Sense Blade on Nami, but
Yeah, it looks like
sorry
nothing
for cutting
happens.
you off.
No problem. No
Much
problem.
happened right there.
And I would just like to conclude by saying that I said in the beginning of the game that Golem we'd have to rely on Golem to carry, but with that early deficit, we don't know how strong Golem might be.
But Rabbit right here is
nice
caught.
play.
Nice flash E from Necklet. He lands the
He's gonna
Sonic
be a
going
kill.
in with the resonating strike.
Yeah.
That is.
I think you give it to
certain
Mundo
kill.
or Lee Sin is the question.
But it seems like Invengers, they gain in the bot lane a complete solo kill, and
Right.
now Necklet is comfortable, right? He can be on the mid lane, and now he ganked top, so it seems like Invengers are snowballing their advantage.
I mean, the funny thing is that Pocket had actually visited the top lane earlier, but then he went into lane way, way too early. And we're going to see, I think Roar might be able to turn this around depending on how he kites it. Does he still have heal? No, Roar already used his heal and his flash. Okay, so he's no summoners right now, so it is a good time for the star to come down and try to make a play. But Pocket actually messed up a gank fairly
but
hard.
this seems like a dangerous place, and the Zenith Blade on
nice
Israel, but
kill.
is the dive going to be enough? But go!
Oh
This
my
might be a
goodness.
turnaround again!
This is not good.
And this is not good.
I fear that there might have been some miscommunication on the side of Prime Sentinel, because even I thought that the star still had his ignite.
Exactly.
So if the star had his ignite on Leona, that would have been a for sure 100% kill. But now that he didn't, Golem tried to finish off the play, and it ended up being a completely costly mistake. What a game this is turning out to be for Roar's Ezreal, and he's even got the tier early, so he's gonna be able to free farm that tier to his leisure.
And Leona left the mid lane. So Leona made Cassidy a little comfortable,
Right.
with this thought that we have to do something to stop that Israel, but that ended up giving worth to the Israel.
Right, I mean, you got to remember, we put the 2v1, Prime Sentinel put the 2v1 into the middle lane to try to put pressure onto Miso's Kassadin, but just look at this creep scores right now. The Rabbit's Lulu only has 4 more CS than the Kassadin, so things are not going well at all. And the gold lead shows that 9.5 thousand gold to 8,000. Sorry. So Invengers are firmly in control of this game, and for a pick composition, this is exactly what you need.
And Israel, it seems like going with the Manamune that. Israel is known as the champion that he has high utility, but maybe damage-wise he's a little low. But when he goes with that tier build, his late game is actually more frightening than others.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal is a champion that does have a lot of opportunities to, build different items, but we might see Pocket get cut out here.
And the Zenith Blade in there, but
This is bad.
Roar has backed up really well, and the bubble landing on both, but Shyvana coming in with the Dragon's Descent, Lucian finishing Nami off, and Necklet goes down as well. Now
let's look at
Israel is
Roar.
caught here. He might have to...
He does use the arcane shift.
does
to
use
get
the
out.
arcane shift, and that's the thing about Israel, right? Even when his flash is down, he has another flash.
Nice
but
kill.
Nice kill right there. Without the ward.
Really nice arcane barrage by True Shot barrage coming out from Roar. I mean, that was a nice play. The thing with Sentinel's composition is that since the champions are so good in their early game, they can demand fights like that even though they were about 3 kills down. So really good heads up game knowledge coming out from the side of Prime Sentinel to know exactly what their limits were and know that they could go in and demand a fight like that.
And what happened right there, it seems like Lulu actually lost a lot of HP against Mundo.
Right, but then Rabbit still has his flash, so I don't expect that the fight was that big. I mean, going back before, and we see, just think about it this way, even though Prime Sentinel did get the 2 kills onto Lucian, Invengers now has 3 kills on Roar, Ezreal, the AD carry, and Roar in the pick composition, Roar is going to be doing a lot. He's going to be trying to rotate for picks. He's going to be trying to make play. He's going to try to make plays, right? So, Roar is looking very nice right now. Even though the Invengers did lose that early fight, considering their champions, who their champions are, and what those champions do, I would not be that worried if I were an Avenger.
And just to wrap up the game right here, I mean, not wrap it up, but sort of sum up what has happened so far. Prime Sentinel made a mid lane swap to hold off on Kassadin, but Kassadin has gotten to level 6 now. He has the Rift Walk now so safely, and he isn't so far behind in CS either.
I mean, Miso is looking very good right now. So we're already starting to see the rotations and the ward coverage come out. This is what Necklet does best. Even when Necklet gets an early lead, he knows how to snowball lead so well. He knows exactly where to put wards and how to scout out where the enemy, solo laners and junglers are. Just the communication coming out from the side of Invengers is so good, and we might see a dragon start right here.
And we see the bot lane going up there, and it seems like Prime Sentinel is unaware of the dragon.
I mean, I'm sure that they realize this is going on, but without any ward coverage to back themselves up,
it's hard to get
it's hard to get in there. Also, the reason why Necklet did start the dragon was because he saw a pocket clearing out a blue side pink ward on the top side of the map, so he knew that the dragon was essentially free.
I mean, knowledge is power, right?
Right, knowledge is power, and that's why vision control is so strong.
And right here, now Kassadin isn't so phased by that harass anymore since he has the Rift Walk.
I mean, it doesn't matter if the Kassadin, as long as Miso starts getting his items, he already has Catalyst the Protector. So as long as Miso is getting his items, it doesn't matter how much poke he takes. But we do see Pocket rotating down.
And I think they do sense the threat here.
Goodness.
Rift walks away, and
he's going to cancel the teleport is the question. He doesn't cancel the teleport. We're going to see a fight right here.
Leona is caught there. The solar flare coming in, but Necklet is sacrificed in the midst of that, and how is
nice
this
Aqua
going to
Prison.
turn out? Great Aqua Prison right there, but Invengers perhaps not having enough damage to
we should see it would. Invengers actually had a chance to re-engage right there, but they decided not to. Really nice Aqua Prison coming out from Kish, even though it was a tad late. I've noticed that Kish has been consistently been a little late to these fights, and that's why when he's trying to make plays. The first time he flashed in to make an Aqua Prison happen, and therefore he died because he was out of position straight up. And this time he was a little bit late to the fight, so unfortunately for the side of Invengers, Necklet did die, but they did get an assist and a kill onto. They got an assist from for 0903's Dr. Mundo, and a kill for the Kassadin. So things are looking very nice for Invengers carries right now.
And that is Ezreal just being farmed so well. His tier stacks are going to be. He's probably going to have to Muramana pretty early on in the game.
Right.
And now Kassadin's damage is unignorable too. And with Nami there to sustain him, but the mid lane turret HP is pretty low at this point.
I mean, the mid lane turret, when the mid lane turret goes down, that will really be the signal for Prime Sentinel to group. I expect Rabbit does want to take the top lane turret as well, since the Invengers outer tier top lane turret is fairly low. The biggest thing right now...
and Zed played on Lee Sin, but Dragon's Rage kicks it away.
Yeah, really nice flash by Necklet right there.
Nice flash by Necklet.
I mean, Prime Sentinel, they shouldn't really be split pushing or anything like that. That's what the Invengers do very well. Really, they should be grouping as five and trying to demand fights. The second dragon will be really key to see where Prime Sentinel is in terms of gold lead.
Oh, Miso has
Miso actually rift walked and then flashed out of the Zenith Blade right there. So good pickup for the Prime Sentinel.
And that seems like a mistake from Miso.
I mean, he did get a little bit, too over-eager. Yeah, a little bit too over-eager. But I mean, he did force the Lucian back. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name. But then and then Chorup Singh, so Graduate. Let's just call him the Graduate.
The Graduate, right? Or maybe even Dustin, right? I love that movie.
I think the Graduate sounds better.
The Graduate. Let's go with the Graduate.
We'll Christian him the Graduate.
Right, the
now.
Graduate.
So the Graduate, he did bring the Graduate low and force him to back. So pretty good wins for the Invengers. I expected, and the last minion did just barely take the turret right there.
Lulu must be happy.
Right. I mean, so Prime Sentinels, despite being down a little bit in gold, with the way their AoE composition works, I think they're pretty comfortable right now. So really, they have a few decisions to make, especially since Gom does have the teleport. They can rotate towards the middle lane, try to siege down that turret, try to take control of the buffs as well. And since Roar's Ezreal is down in the bottom lane, and he doesn't have teleport, they'll basically be demanding a 4v5 at this point.
Right, and controlling the blue buff, that seems like a very important aspect of these days.
I mean, especially since, you know, towers and dragons are so valuable. If there are no objectives available, you really have to go for the buffs, and we might see a fight right now.
And the Zenith Blade, but unfortunately it lands on the Mundo, but the Aqua Prison on Leona, and the Tidal Wave just almost
nice tidal wave
right there. And now they have to be so careful of the cleaver. Thank God you have the mini spiders to block that.
Right. I mean, the question is, why did Gom not decide to teleport right there? And I don't even think he's going to get this kill onto Roar. So, you know, if Gom had teleported down to the top lane, it probably would have been a really nice turnaround.
But flash forward, and
a teleport coming
back,
in.
And now the teleport coming in, and Shyvana is forced to escape.
Yeah, the question is, can Miso catch Gom, given that Gom does not have his Dragon's Descent right now? So this is going to be a NASCAR-esque chase, but
and
it looks like Miso will peel off.
Miso will have to peel off, but you've mentioned, why didn't Gom use his teleport? That's a strange decision, right? Because Israel doesn't really have a method to cut the teleport off.
Right, they probably, you know, it was probably a slight miscalculation and a bottom lane turret going down in favor of Invengers. So it's probably a slight miscalculation on the side of Prime Sentinel. They didn't know exactly how bursty the team composition from the Invengers was, but I don't expect them to make the same mistake, you know. And Gom did use his teleport right there. So now it's in the Invengers' turn to try to look for picks, especially since they do have the teleport advantage on the Dr. Mundo, on 0903's Dr. Mundo right now. So I believe that the Dragon is coming up in a few minutes, maybe
in
3 or so.
Minute.
Yeah,
okay.
In 1 minute, actually?
Yeah, because it was taken at 10. But if Nami gets picked off here, this is going to be a dangerous prospect, but Lee Sin coming to the rescue, and Misa rift walking in, the Solar Flare not quite landing the way the Star would have wanted to, and the Sonic Wave...
so just in time for the Dragon as well.
Just in time for the Dragon, and they do not have their jungler.
Misa's going ham.
Is this perspective, and now Ezreal there to back them up. I think Prime Sentinel has to give up this Dragon.
I mean, it looks like they do, especially since the Invengers do have the teleport advantage on their side. I mean, there's not really a lot that Prime Sentinel can do, even though the poke coming out from Sentinel isn't bad at all.
And the Graduate's health is really low as well. The Graduate does have the red buff, but Mrs. Robinson isn't going to be so kind this time. And they really want to take the Dragon, but I don't think they have any method to control the vision right there.
I mean, they should be... Just the lack of hard crowd control on the side of Invengers is really killing them right now, especially since... And Pocket's back at full health, so they need to peel off.
But the tidal
nice
wave...
Kill. Nice double kill.
Right there.
This might be a triple.
The teleport coming in from Mundo. Quadra kill? Give Israel the quadra kill.
So it is a triple kill and a kill for Miso.
Right.
I mean, you know, a kill going out to the Kassadin isn't bad at all. Oh my goodness. I mean, Kish used the tidal wave really well right there. I mean, I didn't think that, you know, especially since Pocket had returned with full health and he had just bought all of his items, I didn't think that the Invengers could contest it right there. But a beautiful Aqua Prison and the tidal wave coming out from Kish's Nami. Just, you know, we said before, if you give Kish a chance on his Nami, he's going to be able to carry this game, and now he's showing that right now.
I mean, and you said when Kish has the Nami, he's not a Little Mermaid anymore, and that was almost like, I mean, Poseidon or something. The tidal wave just totally destroying the formation that Prime Sentinel has set up, and they hopelessly give up the Dragon, and Israel takes 3. Israel has 6 kills, and he has a Triforce and a Man Immune 18 minutes into the game. How significant is this?
I mean... This isn't good.
This is not good.
Especially since Roar did get a lot of solo lane time alone against Gom, and he was able to use, you know, his skills freely, and he wasn't pressured at all. The 7k gold lead really speaks volumes for how well the Invengers are controlling the map.
And now Israel with the double buff, and Lee Sin there just to maybe clear out the lane right there. And Prime Sentinel now 6,000 global gold difference between them and Invengers, but they have the lead in turrets. And you've mentioned in our previous cast, you've always said that turrets are some sort of like an insurance, right?
Right. I mean, it's basically locked in gold. So the real problem is the fact that Prime Sentinel has more turrets than the Invengers, and yet they're still 7,000 gold down. So,
and how annoying is that?
This is
And Cassidy just holding out the lane.
Right.
And the damage from Israel cannot be handled.
This might be a kill right here.
Forcing the wild growth off Prime
Arcane
Rabbit.
Barrage.
Nice
Arcane
flash
Barrage.
I mean, True Shot Barrage.
True Shot Barrage.
Forcing the flash off the Lulu, but the Solar Flare on Cassidy, they might be able to burst him down. They want to get the kill, and they do. But at the same time, is that really going to do much to change the pace of the game?
I mean, the Prime Sentinel will pick themselves up another tower, but Invengers might just trade another mid lane tower right now, and that is a very, very strong move for the Invengers, especially since they do have this pick composition. You know, you really want to open up as much of the map as you can. You know, going back to the composition coming out of the Invengers, it doesn't really matter. If you're a member of the Invengers, it doesn't really matter to you which turrets are taken. I mean, of course, in an ideal world, the other team would have no turrets and you would have all of theirs. But just because the Invengers are so good at controlling the jungle, and on both sides of the map, whether it's in their own jungle or whether it's in the enemy jungle, it doesn't really matter for the Invengers. Once they get the pick, once they get that one Aqua Prison or one Sonic Wave Resonating Strike combo into the Dragon's Rage, coming out from Necklet, that's another free objective right there. Maybe even a Baron at this point, since the Invengers are so far ahead.
And now Israel has completed the Triforce, and did you notice how quickly Israel seized that turret?
I mean, 20-minute Triforce and Manamune that spells a lot of trouble.
Is it Manamune, not Manamune? I mean, these English pronunciations are very difficult.
It's Manamune. Wait, is it Manamune or Manamune?
I know how it is spelled,
right,
but it's the pronunciation that trips me. But he has the tier item.
Yeah.
Now, but you were saying.
Right.
But excuse me.
Yeah, I guess that's a discussion for another time.
That's a discussion for another time.
So, just the fact that he has the Bilgewater Cutlass as well at exactly 21 minutes in the game. Oh my goodness, this isn't good.
It's Prime. The Sonic Wave missed, but
it's getting
poking Lee Sin.
Right.
They say, right?
Yeah,
Lee Sin's poke. It's
getting to that point where Roar has the red buff as well. It's getting to the point where even though Prime Sentinel does have the Wombo combo, quote unquote Wombo combo team comp that I mentioned before, I don't think they can take them in team fights. It's gotten to the point where Prime Sentinel is the team that's really looking for picks, trying to pick a champion off so that they can turn that into a free objective.
But
because at this point they have
get
nothing else
picked
to do.
off here now.
That's a teleport coming in, so we might see a fight
coming in.
Oh, nice Aqua Prison.
Stop and go, and Ezreal is coming down, and Mundo is there to back him up.
Right.
And oh my goodness. Muramana at 20 minutes.
This is a 5v5 right now.
This is a 5v5 right now, but the Solar Flare not landing quite right. But we can't say the same for the Tidal Wave. Now Israel kiting so well. He is facing three members, but he cannot be stopped. Now triple kill on the Israel, and Ezreal
quadra kill right now.
Quadra right there, and ace. Muramana and a Triforce 20 minutes into the game, and that's what Israel is capable of.
I mean, what a beautiful tidal wave coming out from Kish. He also used the Aqua Prison onto Gom Shyvana, and Gom was forced to flash out, even though he could have made an attempt to finish the kill onto Roar. So really beautiful kiting coming out of Roar. This is what before the fight, I believe he had 6 kills. Oh, so he only had a triple kill. Sorry, he had a triple kill, and Miso's Caston got the double.
Here, go over this replay here.
Right, I mean, just look at look at Roar just completely having his way with the back line on the side of Prime Sentinel. He's just getting everything he wants right now, and Miso standing in the back, he completely implodes the Lucian. Just when you give the 6-0 Ezreal with that Pirate's Cutlass, the room that he needs, he's just going to completely destroy the whole team.
Right, and it's just that Ezreal right there was played almost like a melee champion, right? Going right in there in the middle of the enemy's formation, but they were forced to back away from him.
I mean,
this dragon's going to be a free dragon.
I mean, just the fact that Miso, Roar had so much patience. First, he completely segregated himself from the rest of his team composition and essentially demanded a lot of attention to himself by being alone. And when you demand that much attention, you really give, your other carries, such as Miso's Kassadin, such as 0903's Dr. Mundo, to really do work onto the enemy team. So nice heads-up play coming out from Roar. I mean, what beautiful Ezreal play. And Nami play coming out from Kish. Kish has been outstanding again on The Little Mermaid.
Right. And we keep talking about Ezreal, but Brutalizer, you don't want to get hit by his Mystic Shot.
Oh my goodness.
Is it Mystic Arrow or Mystic Shot?
It's Mystic Shot,
Mystic
actually.
Shot, okay.
Yeah. It's, the arrows, I believe, belong to Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe is the one with the arrow.
Right. And
it's because I just played the Nottingham Ezreal skin so often. So now when I think of Ezreal, I think of Robin Hood, It just excites me.
Do they still sell the Nottingham Ezreal skin?
In Korean servers, they do.
Okay.
So on your Smurf account that I gave you, buy that.
Okay.
Well, I didn't give you the Smurf account. I helped you make it.
Yes, you did. I mean...
But wait, they don't sell the Nottingham Ezreal in NA?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Really, what Prime Sentinel has to do... wait, I'm trying...
what can they do?
Wait, what?
And even Soldier, who always... Oh my
goodness.
the damage alone and the True Shot barrage.
He's about to
Lucian
2v1.
bravely jumping in, saying that, okay, all your spells are down, but they cannot handle
Oh my
Ezreal.
god, nice tidal
Flashes
wave.
away, and the tidal wave again, just cutting them off. Now Prime at the back
goodness.
feet,
Oh,
and
my
Ezreal's
goodness.
damage.
Oh,
my
my goodness.
goodness, he is brutal.
This isn't pretty. Pocket's about to get killed right now.
Pocket, he's got nowhere to escape.
Rest in
the Spider.
pepperoni.
Oh
Triple
my
kill
God.
right there.
Not
all
fish
3
in barrel,
kills.
like Spider in a barrel, more like. And
This might be a quadra right
this
here,
might
too.
be a quadra right there. And you know what? If I was Lucian, I'd just go there and give him the pentakill.
I mean-
but this is a professional match, so we should not do that.
Yeah,
but
so that was the unofficial quadra right there, and what a game coming out from Roar. I mean, he really is decimating the entire team of Prime Sentinel. I mean, what can you do, honestly? And he's not gonna get this kill on Miso.
He's not going to get this kill on Miso. Oh, Zonia's. And if the Riplock cooldown comes back,
Yeah, he had his
away
flash
from it.
Zonia's and his ultimate still up, and his Rift Walk still up. So it's gotten to the point for Prime Sentinel where, and we're gonna go over this fight right here. Just this is basically Roar doing everything by himself. All the members of Prime Sentinel were already low before the fight, just because of Roar's Ezreal. And look at a beautiful tidal wave to stop all of the initiate coming out from the star, coming out from the pocket. Net click comes in. 0903 teleports in. Really, this game was just over right now.
And just look at that, Muramana being procced, dealing. He's unforgiving, so punishing, and Gome right there. Shimana is tanky, but that Dragon's Descent was probably something out of desperation.
Yeah.
And my goodness, when you have Ezreal, Arcane shifting forward like that, you know you're in trouble.
I mean, Roar is playing, and he almost stole the red buff as
He
well.
almost stole the red buff.
Roar is playing the perfect game right now. I mean, he's showing no fear, and he's been very aggressive. And when you're aggressive with an AD carry like that, when you have a lot of kills, it's good to be aggressive with an AD carry like that, because when he burns wow, my goodness.
Oh, it was a surrender.
The surrender vote comes out.
We talked about Ezreal being so good, Ezreal so strong, but it seems like the one